It's been an interesting year for wheat, and Jeff, let's talk about what we have here at Lahoma. You guys have had a pretty consistent study going.
We have. This has historically been our largest wheat variety trial site. This year we have 56 varieties out here, the largest trial we've ever had at this site. And in addition to just having those 56 varieties out here, we have every variety with and without a foliar fungicide. Can't wait till June rolls around to get in here and harvest these plots and see what type of an effect foliar fungicides had this year. There are some varieties out here, Billings being an example, that the disease really hasn't affected much, and I don't look for much response at all. And then we have other varieties, Pete or Garrison being an example, where I expect to see a very large response, maybe 20 or 25% increase with yield for using a foliar fungicide.
Who would have thought that there would be that much difference between foliar and non-foliar?
We certainly didn't expect it earlier in the year, and that's one thing that's catching a lot of our producers in Oklahoma this year. At the time when we really needed to make those foliar fungicide applications, we were still extremely dry, and we were in pretty dire straits. So growers held off, and understandably so. They didn't want to put more money into the crop. Then we started getting rain, and we have had an ideal environment for stripe rust. Cool conditions, a lot of free moisture, and it really came on, and we're past that fungicide window mostly in Oklahoma now. So hindsight's 20/20, and we'll just have to ride this one out and see what happens.
Let's talk about that moisture being a big difference between 2014 and 2015. What other differences are you seeing in the wheat crop?
Well, this year we're certainly, with the moisture, we're going to have a much better seed set. I think we'll have much larger kernel size, so we're going to have better seed quality going into the fall and also going into the mill as well. No disease last year. We have a lot of disease this year. One disease that might show up this year would be head scab, and we haven't really dealt with head scab in Oklahoma for 7 or 8 years. It's not a disease other than northeast Oklahoma that we typically worry about. And of course, at this stage, the die is cast. We'll just have to ride it out. But having free moisture at the time the wheat is flowering, if you're no-till into corn stalks or no-till into wheat, there's potential there. I still think it will primarily be an issue in northeast Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, but it's something to keep on the radar screen.
As we're approaching the middle of May, how much more time until you think combines are going to start rolling?
Well, somebody will cut wheat, prior.
Way too early.
Somebody will cut wheat prior to Memorial Day, just to say that they did. If the current conditions continue, I think we might have a little bit of a later harvest. We might be into that second week of June before we really get going. And that's a good thing, as long as it's because the wheat is taking that long to mature. The longer the wheat is green, the more kernels it's making, or the more weight it's putting into those kernels. So that's a good thing. Now hopefully we won't have a late harvest because the fields are too muddy. You can't please a farmer. We were complaining about no rain, and now it's maybe a little too wet, but we're a long way off from worrying about that. But that might be a concern if we continue to stay wet throughout the month of May.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Jeff Edwards, our small grains extension specialist here at Oklahoma State University.